What's going on? Holy shit, there are a lot of people here. All right, let's get a move on. It makes some noise all the way from Australia. Karen from Finance. Alaska Thunderfuck. I know. Sorry about that. All right. Well, welcome. Oh, excuse me. Oh God, Jesus Christ. Right there. Okay, go over here. All right. Asia, welcome to Chicago. How you feeling?
Thank you. I feel great. How are y'all?
It's your first time at Roscoe's. Working?
Twerking, yes.
Twerking. Okay.
Not working it.
She actually told us backstage that Roscoe's was the first place that she ever got drunk 10 years ago. And she is officially a Chicagoan because she threw up in the 7-Eleven parking lot.
And that's the only time ever I have ever thrown up from alcohol.
It's like passing your driver's test here. It's like, you're and Alaska, we haven't seen you in a bit. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And Karen, is your first time in Chicago as well?
This is my second time in Chicago, but first time at Roscoe's. I feel like I'm at an AA meeting. This is so intimate and fabulous.
Well, I have to say, they have been very excited every time I say your name each week. They freak the fuck out.
Let's get started!
Here we go.
Woo! Oh, are the police here?
Yeah. Let's go.
No, I didn't do it!
Hi, Dixon!
Everybody say hi, Vixen. Vixen, where were you last week watching the show?
At my hotel. Yeah, all of us for the last week all pretty much watched in our hotel.
Yeah. How was your drag con?
Fucking fabulous.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was great. Did anybody go?
Anything eventful happen?
Anybody go? You were there? Oh, that's right. It was great. Like, I was terrified actually because I'd never been to any type of convention, but it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we don't want to talk about Eureka.
Oh, is that what you were asking about?
Yeah.
Oh, girl, you know, I'm not the brightest person.
Who was the one that you were vague booking about?
Yes.
Eureka O'Hara.
Okay. What happened, approximately what happened?
So here's, I don't even have to look out to see all the phones doing like this. Exactly. Here's what happened. So, you know, my favorite part, like I said, was like going around saying hi. You know, you and I kikied in the green room. Like, it's like a family reunion because you never get to see the girls unless you're working. So, when I made it to Eureka's booth, I was not allowed to see her or speak or say hi. In retrospect, after speaking to Eureka, it was not Eureka as a person, it was the people she had that were working that were like, oh no, absolutely not, you'll have to come back.
Did they not, they didn't recognize you?
Apparently they did not. Which is okay, you know, all black queens look alike, so maybe they thought I was Honey Mahogany, I don't know.
I want to know who they thought you were that they were like, oh no, she can't come in here.
But there were, I mean,
probably
who knows, but there were a lot of, you know, people in drag walking around, so maybe they thought I was just, you know, anybody, but the girl was like, no, absolutely not, you're gonna have to come back. And, you know, the people even in the front of Eureka's line were like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So I was like, it's cool, but it was not Eureka's fault, officially. It was the people that she had around her that just couldn't be bothered.
Okay. All right. Yeah. How was your drag con, Karen from Finance?
I had an amazing drag. Did anyone here, did actually no one go from Chicago? Was anyone at drag con this weekend?
Ain't nobody got no money to go all the way to drag con.
There was a lot of Chicago people there. Yeah.
I had a fantastic time at drag con. It was my second time. It was an 18-hour flight to get there. And as I was saying to the girls upstairs, it cost me more to send my merch home than it did to send it to LA. Work that out. I have no idea. I did pretty well too. I did pretty well. But we're not there to make money, are we, girlfriends? We're there to take photos with people and make it popular.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
RuPaul's volunteer con? I don't know.
When you're a third-rate corporate queen from down under that's never been on RuPaul's Drag Race, that's what you have to say.
There you go. Yeah, she was at a booth with Art Simone, also from Australia, and they were the Kangaroo Girls. We love a theme queen. I love a pun.
It had us laughing for about 3.5 minutes as well. So, thank you.
Anything exciting happened to you this week in Alaska?
I survived, and that's the important thing. It's like always so much and so crazy, but it was really cool, like seeing all the kids
And you did the Boulez show on Saturday?
Girl, I pulled myself out of bed to go downtown at midnight. Yeah, sure did.
I was at that show and it was $14 for a cocktail. What the fuck is that?
Wait, you were there? Where was it?
Huh?
Where was it?
At the Globe Theater downtown.
It was really hilarious and really fun. Like, I'm really glad
it was wacky. They were just spraying blood on people from like the very beginning. I was like, bitch, not at my show. Girl, I was about 1,000 feet back, like, no. Alright, we're back! Woo!
Oh, girl.
Alright, so, Isha, take us through that moment with Rue where she made you feel some type of way.
So, well, first, before that even happened, like, we were all shocked because normally you have an ample amount of time for these type of challenges. They were like, no, you guys have an hour to go through the script and then an hour and a half to get a drag. We're doing this today. Like, and we were like, what? So this was like the first time, at least for me, where the pressure of time was really on. But also, like, this was the first time for me that we all felt like she was like legitimately talking to us as people and not as, characters. And everybody felt like their individual conversation with her was real. And bitch, I am telling you, as I am sitting here, when that hoe looked me in my face and said, remember who the hell you are? She stopped and stared at me for 20 seconds. It was dead silence in the workroom to where one of the cameramen had to say, is everything okay? Bitch, and I was like, is she a fucking witch? What is happening? Like, it was.
What was she trying? Was she trying to spook you, or was she?
She was not trying to spook me. It was just like she was talking directly to me, and I have not had anyone talk to me like that. I think as an adult, and it was legitimately a life-changing moment for me.
Really?
Like I almost had to leave the workroom. Like they were like, "Girl, are we about to have to shut down? What the fuck is?" It was like this. She said, "Remember who the hell you are."
And then you're just thinking about your childhood, and you're like, going through like,
what
steps did I take that brought me here?
It was legitimately like talking to a witch.
Yeah.
It was. And so it was a life-changing moment for me. And it was like, I understood what she was saying in so many words. And I think everybody in the competition, you get there and you get caught up in trying to be like what you think the judges want or what you think she wants. You lose sight of like who you are or how you even got there or how you even got that opportunity. So it was definitely life-changing. I promise you, I almost had to leave the room.
Do you think that like change the tectonic plates in your head of like how you're gonna go towards the competition? Like, did it change your gears a lot? Like, oh, actually, I'm gonna change my.
Absolutely, because I'm a firm believer in if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And so there's a negative and positive side to that. And I've been very fortunate in my drag career to have had success on another realm, early in my career. And I got to Drag Race and was like, okay, I'm gonna try like some different things to see. And with that, I kind of forgot the tools that I always use to be successful in any facet of my life. So yeah.
How long did you do pageants for?
Forever. 12 years.
Ivy Winter. I think my favorite was I will sell this house today. So who are you rooting for in this competition this year, Alaska? Present company included.
No, you're doing so good. You're doing great, sweetie.
Thank you, so are you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else you're rooting for?
I really like Miss Cracker from New York.
Not our best week right now, but you know.
Girl, it's so hard doing these challenges,
Yeah.
and then there's all these cameras on you. So if you fuck up one line, you're like, oh, they're gonna show that and put stupid music behind it and make me look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like do you feel like this is the most self-conscious challenge where you're like, oh, they're just gonna make me look like a fucking idiot. Whenever
It's
it's acting
always.
challenges, they always
Yeah, and heaven forbid you mess up 2 lines. Then it's like, oh my god, your career is over.
Yeah.
And
Like it's done.
And to be honest, it's like when it starts, it's like it's like they're just looking, and the first person to fuck us up, shoot, there we got one, and then it's over. It like snowballs.
It is.
Now, Karen, you said, how do you watch Drag Race in Australia?
Now TV.
So yeah, now we watch it on TV. No, we get it at the same time as you get it here. So, but right now it's like 2 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. So we watch it alone in our pajamas on the couch. This is so much more exhilarating.
Yeah.
So much more exciting.
So there's no viewing parties in Australia?
Well, there are, but they're nothing like this because otherwise the viewing parties on a Friday night, people would much rather be getting wasted than watching Drag Race.
Well,
which I disagree.
Me too.
with. Why not have both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of wasted, Detox is here. How was your DragCon, little lady?
I'm exhausted, but still hydrated. Thank you very much.
Oh, fucked up. I was wasted, yeah. It's DragCon! I woke up and had a drink, that's what you gotta do.
You're supposed to party at DragCon.
You're in overhead lighting with a bunch of 9-year-olds, what do? You get fucking drunk.
Exactly.
Right? So when you walked into the competition day one, was there anyone that you saw, besides Eureka, and saw that you recognized, or who did you think your biggest competition was?
Definitely Miss Cracker, Blair St. Clair, and Monet Exchange. Like those were the 3 that I was like, okay, I gotta watch out for those.
Had you worked with anyone prior?
No, I had worked with Monique Hart and with Mayhem Miller. But like Miss Cracker was the first person. Well, she was right after me coming in, but she was the first person I saw that was like, oh my gosh, she's fucking stunning. She's polished. Like that's the bitch I have to watch out for. And just because Blair was so Pollyanna and so polar opposite of everybody else, I'm like, of course, like she's gonna be fucking fabulous and everything.
Yeah.
And she was right next to me in the little holding rooms, and she kept singing like her entrance line. And I was like, we got fucking opera singers? I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So, like those 3 definitely.
Jinx, that's like
Jinx.
Jinx
Girl.
sings at all moments of the day.
Girl. We would be like on ice in between a break, and literally everyone would be like sitting, like we were just sitting quietly in the workroom waiting for them to set up a shot or something. Jinx on the other side of the room would like acting exercises. We were like, who is this?
Even Kim would post her when they would go, oh damn. Okay, we're back. Oh my god.
First of all, how fucking sickening does Michelle Visage look right now?
Yeah, she looks like she missed Cher week. She's doing Cher this week.
Oh yeah, she's like 1 behind.
So tell us about them chasing this man out of this.
Bitch,
with this
I forgot that I said that, and I cannot believe I'm gonna have to go home and explain that to people. But yeah, I was dating this was like probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I was dating this boy who was also like an aspiring drag queen. He no longer does drag, and he broke up with me via text message. And we have like a code where I work. Like if you're dating a girl and you break up with a girl, you can't come to the club for 6 months. And he marched right down the center aisle and plopped himself on the front row at the first show at 11 o'clock. And our show, we have a monitor in the dressing room, and our show director Tom said,
oh god.
"Is that Blake?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh no, it's not tonight." And it was really like, and I was new on my cast there, like still a young like kid. And bitch, those girls put on tennis shoes and a baseball bat and went right out and said, "No, you're gonna have to get out of here." So that's one of the cool things about drag is that you can have your friends chase people out of the club with a baseball bat for no reason, really.
That's so good.
You're hired.
They brought up an interesting question, the question of like, when do you stop drag, which I think is something that like we all kind of think of, like how old are you when you just stop going out in drag? It's taxing on your body. Like, what do you think you're gonna be doing when you're like 60?
Well, go ahead.
I started drag so that I could be a 70-year-old man doing drag at the bar.
Yeah.
It's like, if this is all preparation for that day, I can have a stubby of beer with a straw and be completely wasted and not even know my own name. That's all I want from my drag career.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go.
There is no time limit on caring for finance.
That's my truth.
Yeah, love that. What do you think, Alaska?
Yeah, I really look up to like Coco Peru and Jackie Beat and Lady Bunny and RuPaul and people who are still doing it. And actually, like drag, you kind of stay the same age, kind of, right? Like the theme always stays the same age. So I love it. I want to be 90. I want to be propped up in the doorway like Mae West, like can't even stand. Roll me out. Flats under a gown.
It's the dream.
And you said you did pageants for 12 years?
Yeah, like I said that. Yeah, like 12 or 15 years. Long enough.
How much? When do you think you'll stop doing drag? Are you
I
going to
mean,
be?
drag to me is purely art. So when I stop having something to contribute to drag, I'll stop. Like it's just like as a musical artist, if you are at a point where you're not making music that is relevant and you're not contributing to music, girl, sit down.
Yeah. But also, when does that moment happen? I feel like that's the hardest part with like anything. Where like, oh god, like you look back and go, oh god, I stopped being cool.
Well,
like
for
4
good
years
queens
ago.
like Jackie Beat and RuPaul, that never happens. You stop, you start to evolve and continue to have stuff to contribute. But if you're not evolving with the times, I think Madonna's a prime example. Bitch, every fucking 3 years, she's a completely fucking different person. And like that, if you're not that type of queen, sit down. If you are, bitch, put out an album every 3 years and say fuck them, and I'll see you. And 2, I'm moving overseas.
And that brings us to Detox. This is officially your intervention. You're too old to do drag. Can I have a shot or? Oh, why'd you put it on this stool? Okay. Cheers, ladies. Thank you for coming out tonight on this fine Thursday. Make some noise for all of our girls. Cheers, you fucking cheesecakes. Cheers, Chicago. Hang out.
Lord. Oh my, what was that, turpentine?
Oh god.
I forgot to say something about the Maxi Challenge. Girl, so we're like maybe 10 minutes into it and fucking RuPaul comes in her sweats and sits in the back like somebody's dad at a basketball game. And the entire energy of the room changed. And it was the only time that I can remember like doing the Maxi Challenge where she comes in as a boy and she's sitting in the back looking like trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. So that was like a whole nother element.
Like in the room with y'all or like behind the camera?
In the room, like Michelle and Ross were sitting over here. She just came and just pulled up a chair like in the back behind the cameras in her sweats and her slides just kind of looking. And that was kind of the moment when Miss Cracker started to, not Miss Cracker, that's the moment when Cameron started to kind of forget her lines because we were all like, oh well bitch, wait a minute. It's a different game now.
So she knew she wasn't going to be on camera, but she was just trying to put the fear of God.
I don't know, she was just trying to, I really felt like this episode, like she really was like, okay, let me see what the fuck these bitches are really doing.
Yeah.
Like, cause after, in the workroom and then her staying, bitch, when she's done with her part, she is hitting it. But like for her to stay and like she came in and she sat and like she was really like watching and paying attention and seeing how everybody reacted to the judges' critiques or whatever was kind of nerve-wracking.
I'm going to put it out there and say I think things kind of got out of her hands and got awry on All Stars 3, and I think she wanted to have her fingerprint a little more in the last leg of this one. Does that make any sense? I think there was a moment where you're like, oh god, even RuPaul doesn't know what the fuck's going on here.
That's possible because like this whole part of the competition, like it was really like she stormed in, like not literally stormed in, but it felt like she stormed in and said, let me figure out what the fuck is going on my show because I need to like have my hand on everything, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah. All right. So, who were your favorite runways, my dudes? Who were your favorite?
Mine was Cameron's.
Cameron. That was so good. Also, yours with those braids. Those sparse braids.
I actually had a different runway, and it was very similar to Monet's. I had a bodysuit with like the sagging titties, and hers was so much better. I was like, I can't fucking wear that.
Well, good on you for being like, all right, let me.
Yeah, I was
right.
like, I can't do that.
Yeah. Who did not do it for y'all? Paula Dean, you said. You know, I didn't understand like the purple velour bodysuit with a coat, and then there was like no kind of like age makeup or anything. Also, Aquarius was like very hip. Like for any other runway, that would have probably been cool, but I just it didn't really make sense for it.
Yeah, I kind of missed the beat. I feel like Miss Cracker looked amazing as well, but it's not the comedy and the amazingness you want from old grannies. Down under in Australia, old granny drag is like this whole trade of its own.
Really?
It's absolutely incredible in the full scene. And yeah, there were some funny queens up there, but it wasn't as good as I wish. Polly?
Is there like a drag like crew of old lady drag queens?
Yeah, and they're all named after suburbs in our city.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
There's like Edith Vale,
I hear you be named Rosemont.
Caroline Springs, all that sort of shit. They're hilarious.
Aww.
They're completely irreverent. They're really rude and disgusting and old and glamorous and bitchy and everything gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay, so our bottoms were then Cracker and Aquaria and Eureka. Yeah. All of
There's
them.
only 6, so there's going to be 3 people in the bottom and 3 people in the top.
But Aquaria's not in the bottom because it doesn't count.
Oh.
Last week, as she said, I don't think.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a different show.
Yeah. I said it's okay. Did you watch the season of America's Next Top Model with Natasha, the girl from Russia? And it's the one that Jasmine won. And we're back.
This one is hard.
Asia, when you're doing a scene like that, when you're doing one of these acting challenges, you get the script, you read it through, and then you're getting up and performing it. Obviously, what you're recording at the time is so drastically different to what we get to see on television because of the goddamn music they put on there. How does it feel viewing something like that after performing it?
Well, okay, so, you know, on the show they say, okay, now let's watch it. If I remember correctly, this time we didn't get to watch it, so this is the first time I actually saw it. You know, sometimes they roll a TV out there and you see it. I don't think this one we got to see. No, it's completely different because they have to explain to you, like, okay, there's going to be a death ray coming out of this hairdryer, or there's going to be this or that. This one wasn't as bad because the whole set was there. It wasn't like it was done on green screen, so we kind of got it. But a lot of times you have to use your imagination, and then 6 months later when the episode comes out, you see, okay, I get it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You were incredible at that.
Do you think it was a pretty fair representation? Do you think that was pretty much how it went down, or is there a little bit of?
No, that's pretty accurate. There was a lot more back and forth with words, or with lines, but that was for everybody. We literally had maybe 45 minutes with the script before we had to get in drag, so they were feeding everybody lines, and I think at some point they were like, okay, none of them know what the fuck these lines are, so let's just do what the best we can with this.
I really thought Cracker was gonna go in there and just knock it out of the park, and she was so uncomfortable.
And I don't know, like, we all thought, you know, when we heard script, we were like, clearly this is Miss Cracker. Like, that's kind of what we all thought. But you know, like I said before, what role you pick really, really, really mattered. And you know, Miss Cracker was the only character that was on stage the entire time. And then, you know, followed by Monet and Cameron. But you know, that's a harder part because you're there the entire time.
I don't know. I thought that was a really good part.
Yeah.
You just gotta act corny. Yeah. What do you think, Alaska?
I don't know about those rounder bum underwear.
They were
Oh
terrible!
my god! Those bums were not rounder, they were droopier. It was like the guys with cute asses, it looks good, but everything else, it had that pouch at the bottom.
Is that what it is? Because I'm not familiar with them. Do they have, I'm assuming something that like lifts your butt? Nobody's familiar with them?
It has like a pad built
That's why they
into
were
it.
a sponsor.
Is this what happens when Andrew Christian pulls out last second and they're like, I don't know, go on
Andrew Christian has never pulled out, that I can assure you.
Yeah, those were very unattractive underwear.
Yeah, not cool.
No.
But shout out to Leif Ashley, who is in the picture.
Yes.
If you guys don't know who Leif Ashley is, he is a female to male trans person who is a model who is really fucking hot. Yeah, and was in the scene, just kind of.
Yes.
Yes.
So wait, were the models in the scene totally different from the ones in the
Yeah,
picture?
so it was really weird because none of those guys, except for the 2 original members of the pit crew, were any of the guys that were in the Maxi Challenge, which seemed like a waste of money to me. But yeah, it was all completely different people.
Did you recognize any of the guys in the who were there?
I recognize one who's a dancer on the floor.
Alright, well, first of all, a shout out to Paula
Everybody
Dean.
got a shot.
Seriously.
Everybody got a shot that said Sarah Palin
Yeah,
or Paula Dean.
what do you want to
Same
shout out? James? You're a nice guy. You're a good kid. Vixen, what would your have old lady couture look like? Angela Bassett. Black Panther.
Angela. Oh my God!
Oh.
Still a good idea. Girl.
You kids. Let's see. Who do you guys think is gonna win this one?
Really? Poor guys.
Yeah, bitch, Ru really likes you in this episode. Between the conversation in the workroom and what she just said, like, when you were backstage, she really likes you.
I mean, I do, like I said before, feel like this was the first time like she looked at us as like her like kids. Like it was the first time she was like, I think she had said, okay, when we get to 6, I'm gonna start being serious. Up until that, I'm gonna just do whatever. But thank you.
There you go. Cheers to Paula Dean.
Cheers to
Paula Dean dressed like a witch.
Girl, that's the funniest fucking thing ever.
Alright, let's see. So let's go through it. Next week, we have a special guest, Aquaria.
Yay!
Monet Exchange. Hi, woman. And also, host of Drag Race Thailand, Pangina Hill. Yeah, Monet, yeah.
Wow.
And then on May 31st, we have Miss Cracker. And Cameron Michael.
Yay!
All right, let's see. I have some Q&A questions here. We'll get through what we can get through.
Sure.
Let's see. This is from Lisa for Asia, and it says, "Oh God." It says, "What happened the night Vixen was accosted in New York?"
Okay, I thank the Lord Jesus I can say what I'm about to say. I was not there, correct? I am so happy to be able to say I don't know. You have to ask. Raise your hand if you ask the question. Who is it? Oh, she left. She goes, oh, over there. You will have to ask Monique. I can tell you, I can say what I heard. There were somebody threw a drink at the Vixen, and everybody jumped in to like help the Vixen because this guy was trying to fight the Vixen, except for what'd you say?
Fuck this shit! Don't fight the Vixen!
Thank you. No, it's really what it is fuck this shit, don't fight anybody. Just go to the club and have a fucking good time.
So everyone jumped in.
Everybody jumped in except for one person. I was not there. We can ask the Vixen. I mean, she's sitting right there.
Vixen.
Hey girl, how you doing, girl? So involved in this was the Vixen, Cameron Michaels, Monique Hart, and Mayhem Miller, correct? Did I leave anybody out? And Vanessa. Vanessa Page Mateo. And who was the one person that couldn't be bothered to help you? Oh, I can talk.
Too vague.
Oh shit! So you calling me out? All right. I'm just saying, you know, with all those muscles, you think you throw a punch, but anyway.
Oh. I don't know. Who's talked about having muscles the past 7 weeks?
Eureka.
Oh, Eureka. I can't wait for this reunion.
But for real, I wasn't there. I only heard about it secondhand, like weeks, like afterwards.
Yeah. Vixen's like, I want to talk about this. From Marcella from California for Alaska, what brand of setting powder do you use?
We've all been wondering.
The blogs are talking, let us know.
What is setting powder? I've never tried that. Stuff like makeup. I like Ben Nye. That's what I use.
Yay, me too. You too?
Translucent or what?
I use
Natural color.
Cameo and Neutral Set.
Ooh.
Chase, write that down.
Oops, sorry.
On your level.
Oh yeah, and we'll do more questions when we come back and when we go into oh my god. Oh, by the time we come back we'll already be into Untucked.
There's that, they canceled Untucked, the Vixen is gone. There's no reason to have Untucked. My Lord. No, it's literally gonna be like Michigan J. Frog, Ribbit. Here we go.
Alright. Woo! Alright, first I would like to say congratulations.
And y'all make some noise for Cameron and Eureka that are going to see another week. Y'all make some noise.
Anybody see that coming?
I did because I was there.
Alright, so we're going to do a little Q&A. So if you have a question for the ladies, please raise your hand and Sean, my lovely manager, will run out and put a microphone in your face and you'll ask your question.
There we go.
Please don't ask super personal questions about people's families and things like that. Don't get weird, okay? No, you don't know. There's been some weird shit. People get weird. Oh, they get fucking weird. So yeah, you know, be respectful, like, yeah. Okay, hi, ma'am. What's your question?
Hi there. This is for Karen. So the biggest like Australian drag we get in America is probably Priscilla Queen of the Desert. So what would you personally say is the biggest difference between like stylistically American drag and Australian drag? Is it like Priscilla or not?
You know what? Priscilla Queen of the Desert came out 24 years ago in September, and it is still very poignant and significant in Australian drag culture. Nothing since Priscilla, apart from RuPaul's Drag Race, I think has impacted that. But even though a lot of the Australian queens, especially like the current, like young modern queens, they do style themselves off of the girls that we see on Drag Race. Priscilla is still very much like intact with Australian drag culture. And if you go to any drag show in Australia, you're gonna get into Priscilla, no matter what, who it is. Yeah, it's one of the greatest things that ever happened in queer culture in Australia. We love that movie so much.
Oh, I love that. All right. Hi, what's your question?
Hi, this is for Asia. I was just wondering what it was like, if you said you grew up in a conservative household, like what that was like going into drag, like did that influence your drag?
Where are you from?
I'm from the UK.
Okay.
I'll answer that after this, I promise.
Yeah, I was terrible.
All right.
Okay, to answer your question, I already forgot what it was.
What was the question?
What was it like being in a conservative household? Get it? Okay, so, but I don't have my parents are deceased, as most of you know, and I have siblings that I don't have super close relationships with, but you know, I grew up in a conservative household, but I also grew up in a place where they were like, you know, live your life and do what you do as long as it doesn't infringe on the happiness of others. And so, you know, if my parents were alive, they probably are not going to be the parents that are at the front row of the drag show, like, yeah, that's my son or whatever, but they're like, you know, do what you do, and you know, we will support you. My parents have always been the parents to like, we're not gonna go to no motherfucking football game. How much does it cost? Here's a check. Good luck. We'll see you when you get home. Tell me what time to pick you up. But I'm not supporting, not participating in none of that. So, like, I grew up in a conservative household by belief, but luckily, I grew up in a household where as long as what you were doing didn't infringe on the happiness of others, my parents were cool. My family was cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like going forward, like prime example, my brother now is extremely conservative. He's like, I gotta, you know, fucking spend $7 more a month to get VH1 to see you dress up like a woman on television. And he's like, you know, I'm not gonna play it in front of my kids, but I'm gonna watch it, and you know, I wish you the most success, and if you need anything, great. I'm not coming to no motherfucking watch party with the damn homosexuals, but I love it. So it's very nice.
Has it opened up a conversation with them?
No.
It is what it is.
I mean, I've been doing drag for a minute, and like, it's not, you know, that's not gonna change. And I'm very thankful for my upbringing because it has taught me to, you know, let people live. And although I may not, you know, my brother, prime example, although he may not agree with my lifestyle or agree with the way that I live, he loves and supports me. And, you know, as long as I'm not walking through his living room at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in a wig, he's cool. So it's taught me to like, you know, you don't have to understand what people are doing to love and accept them.
Nice. Thank you. All right. Hello. What's your question?
It's on?
Oh God.
Alright, well, this question is for Alaska. So, there's, a lot of people in the community, the drag community, are like, well, there really needs to be a winter season, and, if it ever does come to happen, who would you see as your biggest competition?
Well, for so long I was like, there's not enough winners to do a season, but now there's like drag race every 2 months, so it's like we have so many winners. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Shangela? I'm still holding out. I think she's gonna win at some point. She's gonna win.
If there were an all-winner
I'm
season,
not
would you
gonna-
do it?
Of course!
You would?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, if RuPaul calls me, I'm gonna pick up the phone and say, yeah.
You're smart.
Yeah.
I like some other girls.
All right.
I want to lip sync against Sharon so bad. Yeah.
I have a question that I always wanted to ask.
Yeah.
There's a lyric where you say, I cheated on Sharon with a guy from Texas. Is that true?
Well, we got in a huge fight because she thought I was cheating on her with someone from Texas because I put his name in my phone as Josh Texas. But he was just my friend.
So you didn't suck it?
No, I didn't.
Because I always thought that was about you and Alyssa.
Oh, I shot it.
Bitch, I said I knew it. Them 2 bottles over there rubbing their tails together.
Terrified. Oh God. The hair on the back of my neck is all right. Hi. What's your question?
Hi, my question's for Alaska. We all love Valentina. Do you have an idea what the season 10 song will be, if there is one in mind? / will it be about the fish mask?
I am the fish monster. I am the fish monster.
Yes, you are.
I have not been that inspired by something Drag Race in years and years and years. They would like be having a serious conversation. The music is all scary and serious, and then they cut to Asia in the fucking. I was like, it's like no one's responding to the fact that a fish monster is here.
All right.
Do y'all understand what that means about being stuck? Like, you have to, at some point in your life, you have to like unstick yourself. And I think like that's something mainstream society has like done to us. Like, we get so caught up like looking through a magazine thinking how we should be that we don't pay any attention to our strengths or what we do well. And so we get stuck like based on what we think we should do better. And I love Cameron to death. Like, Cameron is one of the most sickening entertainers ever. But like, as most people we have met, her own self is her biggest saboteur. And like sometimes you have to unstick yourself and say, you know what, I can't make mashed potatoes, but my motherfucking pot roast is bomb. And so, bitch, Cameron Michaels is like, I don't even know what the fuck pot roast is. The mashed potatoes are terrible. Does that make sense? Like sometimes you just have to unstick yourself.
She's blocking her own blessings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was true, like what I said about even when she was winning, like, when she won the share challenge, even during Untucked, she swore she was lip syncing. And I'm like, girl, what fucking competition are you in? And like, that's the truth. And so, at this point, that's become very apparent.
All right. Hi. What's your question?
Hi, I'm going to be starting graduate school soon to be a counselor, and I've been doing drag for 3 years. How would you suggest to juggle the two?
Pay attention to like the energies around you. Like, balance is something that always presents itself. You just have to accept it. And sorry, but bitch, if you're starting graduate school, get your motherfucking degree. If you have to put drag on the second burner for 4 years so you can afford to go on RuPaul's Drag Race and and do the Queen's entrance in a $1 billion gown with 29,643 people behind you, then you can. Like sometimes, like you have to put stuff on the side burner in order to make a better life for yourself. So bitch, fuck drag, focus on graduate school, drag ain't going nowhere.
She just told you to quit drag. All right,
Hey.
all right. Hi. What's your question?
So this is for Asia. My friends are from, well, we're all from Texas, and you walked into the workroom today saying "Hook 'em horns." We're Red Raiders, so we ain't really
Alright,
friends.
hold on. Alright. Okay, can y'all point them towards the door? Can y'all point them towards the door? For those y'all that are not in Texas, football is a big thing to us, and Red Raiders are something we don't even acknowledge in Central Texas. So, bye. Big Queens remain again.
All right. Before we take more Q&A questions, I just want to remind you guys they will be back tomorrow. There is a photo line at 9:30, and there will be performances starting around 10 that go all night, featuring all three of our divas. Okay. Hi. You had more Sharks versus Jets Texas bullshit.
Is he still here?
He is. Yeah.
Tread lightly, choose your words carefully.
Horns down, go Red Raiders. But my friends just
How much
wanted.
is the Red Raiders want? Okay,
Listen, we suck at football, so I'll give you
and everything. So
We also have the hottest coach in football, though, so it's alright.
that's
So you
not
gotta give us that.
okay. Nobody's enrolling.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are speaking Chinese. I literally have no idea what this is.
Sorry. So my friend just wanted to know if you do that strategically by saying "Hook 'em horns," because this weekend 8,500 students are going to be graduating from the University of Texas. So he just wanted me to let you know that like the entire bar that they're at like blew up and forgot your lip sync last week. So like they just wanted to let you know that they really appreciate it.
No, I did not. No, I did not plan it. Like I had no idea when it was going to be airing. But if y'all have like really watched the show, I'm always in the back when we enter the workroom. Like I'm always like in the back, and so they're like, okay, you're in the front of the line. Is there anything you want to say? And, you know, I love Texas. I'm a football fan. I'm a Longhorns fan. Like you cannot be from Texas and not some type of football fan. So I was like, let me, you know, say something that's important to people at home. I hate the fuck that I'm in motherfucking Chicago where y'all don't give a fuck about the Longhorns. But like no, that's
The Bulls have horns.
that's true. That's true. So yeah,
Bring it in.
horns. But no, I didn't plan it. But you know, I love the fucking Longhorns.
All right. Enough about sports. Let's go to things we understand.
Hi,
Conversion.
my question is for all three of you. What's the next thing that you guys are working toward? Like, what should we be looking out for from all three of you?
I'm trying to be Alaska. Like, yeah. In every stretch of the imagination. So that's yeah.
Don't do that. She lost her first season.
But she, I know. And you lost twice, bitch. Don't do it.
All right.
Really, to be honest with you, I don't care what nobody says. Any bitch that has ever been on Drag Race is trying to be one of three people: Alaska, Bianca Del Rio, or Alyssa Edwards. I'm not funny. I can't dance, so I gotta be Alaska.
You're hired. All right. What's our? Oh, here we are. Hi. What's your question? Huh? What?
Oh, she wants the rest of y'all to answer what's next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I just said alcohol. I apologize.
Alaska, what's next for you?
I'm trying to be the fish monster.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
What's next for you, Karen?
My next feature, I'm hosting a show in Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland this August. We're doing like a 5-week stint just outside of the Edinburgh Castle. The show's called Yummy. And hopefully if we go well there, we can bring the show to the States.
See you here. All right. Hi, what's your question?
One of the things we learned from the Vixen was that it's a little bit more difficult for those of us who are people of color to do drag. So I was wondering, how do you reconcile that with the fact that RuPaul, being a person of color, is probably the most famous and most wonderful drag personality that we know about? Anybody can answer that.
Let me start because Vixen has a lot more details than I do. It is okay. Here's the thing about being a minority in any sense of the imagination. We're all minorities because we're gay. Well, most of us that are here are gay. And so, being a person of color and being gay is then two strikes. So you have to go into any situation knowing what adversity is and knowing how to face it. Unfortunately, as I've said before, most of us here, if you were born before 1995, we weren't really taught or trained like how to deal with adversity. We were only taught that it exists. So you have to go into every situation knowing if the cards are stacked against you, the cards are stacked against you, you have a harder fight than some other people, and either you accept that or you sit your ass at home and don't audition for RuPaul's Drag Race. So, in addition to that, RuPaul being a person of color that is the most famous, female impersonator ever, that doesn't change how people view people of color. That's just like, Obama didn't cure racism just because he's the first African American president.
That is exactly what I was going to say. Exactly.
And although it offered hope for a lot of people and it shook a lot of people in its boots, it made things easier for 8 years, but now we see we're back in almost the same place we started. So it's an uphill battle, but heavy's the head that wears the crown, and so you have to go into things knowing that it's an uphill battle, and instead of sitting somewhere and complaining about, oh, woe is me, I'm gay, or oh, woe is me, I'm black, or oh, woe is me, I'm fat. Bitch, that's the struggle that God gave you. Deal with it and move forward and use it to your advantage, or sit down and be quiet. No, you didn't talk to this.
Well, I was just gonna say, people bringing up RuPaul being the most visible drag queen, it's just a very lazy way to deflect from a real issue. She didn't save us all, it affected her. Good for her, but she still has to bring, 10 to 14 girls into the workroom, and America's still gonna view them with America's eyes. And as we saw tonight, me and Asia gave a really good lip sync last week, but it was not enough with Shantae. You know what I'm saying? And so things work out the way that they work out. And you can't ignore the issues just because there's one person of color who has a little bit of privilege. It has not helped us all at all. It hasn't helped us all.
Yeah, and I think the thing we can learn from all of this, everybody has their own struggles. And in certain venues or certain avenues, some of us have an easier time than others. But if you flip the script and you go somewhere else, bitch, if it was a motherfucking, track meet, the vixen would have beat everybody. So, it's everybody has their own struggles, and that's true. Everybody has their own struggles in different places, so you have to know where you're going and know what your strengths and weaknesses are and use it to your advantage and actually do something instead of just sitting and saying, oh, well, woe is me. And I think, as a whole, I commend the vixen because the vixen has never been a woe is me person, and I commend, a lot of people that have been on RuPaul's Drag Race because even though some of them had a harder time, they've never been, oh, poor me. Don't nobody like me because of this. No, bitch, somebody like you because you're here. 29,643 people auditioned to be here and they picked you, so use your voice.
RuPaul Drag Race. I think that there's definitely racism that exists in the fan base of RuPaul's Drag Race and on the show itself, and I think that this season, especially, these conversations are being had, and I'm so grateful that those conversations are being had. So thank you for being
Agreed. And that goes far beyond racism. I remember being at a watch party when Dusty told, his story about his upbringing and, how he went through conversion therapy. I think more than ever, RuPaul's Drag Race is an accurate representation of real life issues that everybody's facing in the world, and I hope this season and moving forward, people see each season and see somebody that they relate to and somebody's struggles that they relate to and see themselves in that person and see a representation about how to fight adversity and how to find success and what you're dealing with. And bitch, in my opinion, no struggle is greater than any other. Everybody has their own things that they're battling, and hopefully everybody watches this show and sees somebody that's battling a similar struggle as them and understands, okay, this is how I can fucking move forward with my miserable ass life. Except for you.
RuPaul's Drag Week. Alright.
When are we gonna have a RuPaul's Drag Race in Africa? We got one in Thailand. We need one in Ghana. Vincent, can you get on that right there? Now? You good?
All right, Sean. Oh, hi. What's your question?
So I just want to start out. Asia, I'm from Austin, Texas, so I know all the hook 'em horns. Grew up with that, but my question is for Alaska. But my question is for Alaska. I'm probably the only person who really loves Scared Famous. How was that experience being? How was that experience being with all the Love and Hip Hop people, all the VH1 people, Blackpink people, and then you didn't win?
Oh my God.
Clean it up.
So,
Just the one.
I will say that it was okay. We were like an hour outside of Savannah shooting in June, so it was like so hot, and even in the house, and like there were bugs everywhere, and like we had a fly problem because we didn't clean up after ourselves. And there were like bees and wasps, but everyone was really cool, and like the crew was cool, and like everyone on the show was super awesome. So like it was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, Detox has a follow-up question.
Do it.
Can you explain what the fuck you're talking about? Because no one in this room watched that.
Except for the one.
Did anyone here watch Scared Famous?
I watched that. I don't know why I didn't just click. I did watch that. With Safari.
Did I win?
No. Yeah, no. I don't know. Bro, I couldn't get past the second episode. I'm sorry. You was good though. For what I said.
Did you plan out the infamous Jinx Monsoona?
Did they tell you how much you had to be in drag? Like,
yeah.
No, they just wanted me to enter in drag. They didn't give me any specification, but I was like, I woke up every morning like in the sweltering, sweaty heat. I was like, I'm just gonna do drag because I don't know what to do.
This is my thing. Yeah. Did you talk to anyone from the show still?
Eva, yeah. We
Oh,
talked.
nice.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No.
I saw Safari's dick though in that video.
bitch!
Right?
In the video, not in real life. Oh, girl. Is it bigger than Sharon's?
Oh yeah. Was there anything happening behind the scenes of Scared Famous that we didn't see on TV? The people who watched?
No, I think they showed it. Safari in New York went into the bathroom that one night, and I don't know what happened, but
how was it being with New York? Because honestly, reality TV wise, like I can't imagine her in real life. Like I can only see her through like the square of a television. Is she exactly how she is in real life?
she was very clear that like she's there to deliver her product and like to do her job, and she definitely did that.
Always.
And there were a few moments like late at night when like the cameras weren't around. There were a few moments where like I saw the real her, and she's so lovely. And like you get like there's a reason why she is that, because she's like it comes from like a really honest place.
Have you listened to her RuPaul's podcast? She's on What's the Tea? And
was she on it?
She was.
Okay.
Probably like a year and a half ago. And she comes from like money. Like she came from like she comes from money, and she was kind of like on her own. Like she didn't really she didn't have a ton of friends. And she was walking down Hollywood Boulevard one day, and someone came up to her and said, "Would you like to audition for this reality show?" And she was like, "Sure." So she didn't look for fame. She was just like shopping on,
She's really good. She's really good.
God, she's amazing. Okay, hi, what's your question?
Alaska. How do we properly prepare ourselves for Alaska Thunderfuck 3? The third album.
The third album.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
All the girls on season 11 are saying the same thing.
Oh, I have a flu. I have to go away without my phone for 3 weeks. I cannot. No, I don't know. You'll just have to wait and see. Thank you for asking.
So that's a confirmation. Yes, hi, what's your question?
This is for Alaska. What was your favorite part about judging Drag Race?
What was your favorite part about judging Dracula?
I got to sit on the other side of the table and not be standing on stage. That's the best thing. It's so hard to be in on a show like Drag Race or to be in a pageant. I have so much respect for every single contestant who stands in a line and volunteers to get told what's fucked up about them.
Yeah.
That takes so much character and like bravery and like I love sitting behind the desk and you get catering and they give you fucking cards.
On Dracula, they have catering?
Girl. Well, no, not Dracula.
Okay.
No.
I was gonna say, like, they're filming behind a freaking dumpster on someone's iPhone. I don't think they have catering. They're like, we have one Jimmy John sub, split it between 30 people.
That's a challenge.
How long did you film for Dracula? How long was that shooting day?
It wasn't that bad. It was like several hours, but those girls do some fucked up things.
They do.
I couldn't do that show. Not even
Dracula is like baffling
Not even
to
a
me.
little. They are
And
brick
even
shit houses.
going to LA and seeing, like, she was in the show on this Saturday, and just watching the girls, like, the challenge was to, have you ever watched Dracula?
Yes.
The challenge on stage, and the girls can win a chance at, like, you know, getting considered maybe for season 3 of Dracula, and the challenge was everyone has to jerk off a dick and suck it, and then they spray garbage in your face, and everyone laughs at you, and then based on no particular criteria, they pick a winner. I was like, would you do it, Karen?
This is live on stage in Los Angeles?
Yes.
What the fuck?
They like wrestle in pig's blood and they throw trash at them. Like it's a very strange thing.
I love America so much. In Sydney, you can't buy a bottle of wine after 10 p.m. You know what I mean? Jesus.
It was a very strange night watching Dracula live on stage, but I did like it. Hi, what's your question? Oh, do we have one? Hi, what's your question?
Hi, my question's for Karen from Finance.
Hey.
Hi, what are your thoughts about Please Like Me?
Oh, with Josh Thomas?
Of course, with Josh Thomas. Who else?
About what?
This is a significant area where you are allowed to be the only person that knows this TV show.
What is it?
It's just like a.
What's it called?
An Australian TV indie drama called Please Like Me.
I watch it.
You really?
Yeah. And,
wow.
And there's in the beginning, he's always like making the food.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I watched that show, and it got canceled.
Probably.
It got canceled. Yeah, but it was on Hulu. Yeah.
So it's such a small world. Josh Thomas used to date my ex-housemate, whose name is also Thomas. I don't know what to say about
Josh?
Thomas Jaspers. Who, even, here you go, this is how small the world is. Thomas Jaspers is the leading old granny drag queen in Melbourne, Australia. So that's how small our world is. What are my feelings towards the show? I don't know, it was I
love that show. I love it. I love it. Do you watch Real Housewives of Melbourne? Sweetie, it's fabulous.
Okay, it's really good, right?
Everyone's awful.
And you know how
everyone's horrible and mean and evil. And the Sydney one is even worse. Listen, I'm a Real Housewives person. I watch even the terrible ones. Even Auckland and shit like that. It is bad in the best way. They're just like, hi, how are ya? And they just start like fist fighting on a balcony. Yeah. It's great. Anyways, you should watch it.
The greatest thing about the Real Housewives of Melbourne is that Melbourne is such a small city that when they're not filming that show, you can spot every one of those Real Housewives like filling up their car with no makeup in their tracky dash. And yeah, incredible. It's a great show.
You've never watched it. Alright, hi, what's your question? Hello, mustache.
Hi.
Mustache a question? Okay, go on.
I've been in Chicago for 3 hours.
Where are you from?
I'm from Winnipeg, Canada.
Oh, Canada, yes. Tropical fish, alright. What's your question, my lady?
Do you find particular value or specific experiences that you have in sort of far-flung or middle-of-nowhere places where you travel to that you don't necessarily get in big places like Chicago or New York or wherever you are known to have your faces appear regularly?
What was the question?
I know. He said, do you find that you have wackier experiences or more interesting experiences in the middle of nowhere than you do in like major cities? That was my translation.
For me, definitely the middle of nowhere, like there's less rules. And so like, other than Roscoe's in Chicago, the craziest things that have ever happened to me have been in the middle of nowhere. Like, you're on your way to the airport, they stop to get gas, they lock their fucking keys in the car, you miss your flight because they're fucking idiots. Or like, you know, you go somewhere and they're like, we stopped serving alcohol at 2, but we still serve until 7 in the morning. Like, it's always middle of nowhere places like that. And it's always, you know, like there, it's like the places where they, it's like, you know, you go to Chicago and it's like, oh, hi, Alaska, you know, like, or like, you know, we can go to LA and see Bianca Del Rio riding a bike down the street or something. Like, she doesn't know how to ride a bike, but you know, you get the idea. So, like, in the middle of nowhere, it's legitimately like, you know, you're the biggest thing since Sandra Bernhardt has come through there.
Yeah.
So, for me, like, definitely the smaller places are the funnest places because they don't have nothing else going on besides, like, you know, bingo and cow tipping and the county fair.
They get so excited and the boys get more excited.
Yeah, and the boys' dicks are bigger. That helps.
Yeah.
Country dicks are bigger than city dicks. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah.
Cameron Michaels versus the Vixen, for example. I'm just.
How do you know?
I mean.
Mayhem Miller sat up on this stage and alluded to the fact that she may or may not have definitely had sex with Cameron Michaels. That's all that I'm saying. It happened 2 weeks ago.
You know, Cameron Michaels don't want Mayhem Miller.
Detox said Mayhem Miller wants every white man.
Mayhem Miller thinks she slept with every white man.
Thank you. Preach. If anybody was gonna sleep together from season 10, it was going to be Monique Hart and Miss Cracker.
Oh, she said that when she was here.
Or the Vixen and Calorie.
It's Vanjie.
Was it Vanjie or Calorie? It was Vanjie, okay, but neither one of them lasted long enough, so it's okay, but you know. It would have been, had they been there. We'll check with y'all out though.
There's still time, yeah.
Does she say that when she comes, I wonder?
Miss. I'm gonna add that. I cannot imagine she stops talking long enough to give a decent blowjob. It's not possible.
Tell us after the reunion, Vixen, yeah.
Yes.
Alright. Hi, do we have more questions from the audience? Hi, you over there.
Mustache.
Here, let's do another mustache. It's an embarrassment of riches here tonight with the mustaches. Okay, now they're talking to each other. This is weird. Hi, what's your question?
Well, you know, Tranica, you've got such a wonderful panel here this evening. You know,
Thank you.
You got us all the way down from the burbs, even though it's like super fucking early to get here at 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, I hope you're not driving back, but yes, what's your question?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I would have great questions for everybody, but especially for Alaska. You are so cool. You are so chill as fuck. You don't seem like a druggie or a junkie or like you get like super fucked up. So like my question for Alaska is, what is the secret to your amazing chill?
He said you don't seem like a druggie.
She's a fucking
superstar. Hi, find me and my wife later.
Yeah. He's a big stoner. I know this from seeing him here. So his question is, how are you so chill naturally?
I don't know. I'm not. You saw All Stars 2. I'm really not. Like, I'm really a demon. I don't know. I support cannabis reform. I think that it should be legal everywhere. I don't know.
Thank you so much for that informed answer. Yeah. The question, what was better, the question or the answer? Okay, hi, what's your... Listen, we have lost, so we're off the rails. Alright, can I get another shot? Alright, hi, sir, what's your question?
It's for Asia.
What was your favorite challenge that we saw so far?
Yeah.
Maybe one of the ones I won. I don't know. No, my favorite was probably the Farmer Roscoe episode 2. Like that was my favorite because, I come from the pageant world, and in the pageant world, you stay up all motherfucking night rehearsing some bullshit that ain't nobody even gonna like with your friends in the garage in the hot summer. And Farmer Roscoe, we were literally there till 2 o'clock in the morning rehearsing that. And it was the only time in the season where they okay, we're going. If y'all want to stay and rehearse, we'll leave one producer, and somebody with the keys to lock up the building. And we were, Aquaria was rehearsing in her underwear. We were literally it was that was the one time where we had the freedom to make it as good or not as good as we wanted. And so that was probably the only time in my experience there where we actually really worked as a team. And we actually, there was Team the Dixon and Team me splitting space, working in the hot, California desert with the garage doors open, sweating, trying to make this shit right. So that was my favorite challenge because I think that was one of the few times where we actually got to get on stage feeling as prepared as we wanted to be. Every time else we had a time restriction of you have an hour or two. Farmer Roscoe was the one time where they were here's the key, y'all have one chaperone, if y'all want to stay here all night, we'll see y'all at 6 o'clock in the morning, y'all have the choreography, make it right. That answer your question?
Yes.
I have a question.
Hi, what's your question?
Yes, hi, thank you.
Sean.
I like logistics side of this. So how far from when are we in now from when you actually left to film Drag Race? And now we're at the top 6. What's the length of time that we're at?
They take away your watches.
Yeah, time and date goes out the window. There aren't even clocks on set. When you ask the people what time it is, they're not even supposed to tell you. So to give you a point of reference, each episode normally takes about 2 days. So 2 or 3 people are going home a week. So this has been how many eliminations? What? 8 eliminations. So maybe 3.5 weeks. So maybe 3.5 coming up on 4 weeks. We did voice up on Monday. Tuesday we started, so somebody went home Wednesday and somebody went home Friday, so that was 1 week. And then the next week somebody went home Tuesday and Thursday, so that's 2 weeks. The next week somebody went home Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so we were probably at the end of the 3rd, we were probably starting the 4th week.
What did you do in your hotel room? Slept.
Mayhem and Youthwatch jacked off, but everybody else slept. Girl, I've said it before, Mayhem brought a portable DVD player with porn. And she did. And Youthwatch brought one of the old school iPod with just a screen with porn on it. Everybody else slept. You get the best sleep of your life filming Drag Race because you work all fucking day. When you get to your room, all you want to do is go to sleep.
Yeah, but surely you're gonna get the best sleep of your life after working your ass off on Drag Race and then jacking off and going to sleep.
Oh yes, bitch. And bitch, Dusty, her window faced the pool, she would just lay there and pull on that big old fucking meat all night long, and the people would. Am I lying? Girl, Dusty would lay up there with the windows open and pull on her meat. The people at the front desk was talking, bitch, that hotel was sold out for the rest of the season. Bitch, pulling on it.
Roll the footage.
The beautiful being pulled.
Alright, and our special guest, Naked Dusty is here.
Yeah, bitch, I kept trying to go to the pool trying to get a peek.
How do you know it's so big?
Girl, come on, look at Dusty. She got kind of a big old dick. She's 9 foot tall with curly hair. Those boys always have big dicks. Tall nerds with curly hair always have big dicks. Am I lying? It's always them.
Alright, hi, what's your question?
Hi, this is for Karen from Finance. I'm a big fan of all of you for a while already. What is it from Australian drag that you like that we don't do here in the States that you wish that we would do here, and vice versa?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope this is received well, but in Australia we don't tip our drag queens. And so it's
Why is that?
it's required that when a drag queen in Australia is doing a performance, from the second they walk on stage to the second they go off the stage, that whole entire performance needs to be considered. Because there is no break that you can take to get money. It's a choreographed piece from the get-go. And sometimes I feel like when I come to the States, I'm in love with the tipping culture, and I think it makes for a good show. But sometimes when the whole performance is not considered, and they just will like perform for 30 seconds and then go for the money, that's really tiring to watch. So yeah.
Why do they not tip in Australia? Like why is that?
The idea is that, oh, thank you so much. Oh, from the bottom, I can do that. The reason they don't tip is because I guess the drag queens get paid well by the booker.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's what you should have landed the conversation with: is the drag queens get paid well. That's what you wish they would do here.
Do you have dollar, or do you have like, is your dollar, is it a dollar or is it a coin?
No, and I can tell you the quickest story. We have dollar coins.
That's why.
The smallest note we have is a $5 note.
That's why.
And just before Violet Chachki won season 7, she toured Australia with Max, and she jumped on that stage and she cried out something like, "Why aren't you tipping me?" or something like that. And she said, "Where are the dollars?" And people started throwing coins at the stage. And I was out there hosting her that night, and we both had to duck for cover because it was that day. We felt like we were at a rifle range.
I would put on my mom's like change belt from when she would have her garage sales. They're like, "Give me that $5 and I'll go ahead and make a change for you. Thank you so much, pleasure." All right. Hi, what's your question?
Oh my god, hi.
Oh god, here we go. Oh, cheers! Hold up, real quick. Hold up. Cheers, ladies. Bottoms up. Oh, sorry. Okay, back to you. Sorry.
This is through Alaska. How did it feel getting pulled back for All Stars 2?
I was really scared. And it's a really stressful time to get ready for it. And you just pull every favor that you can and get the things ready. I was really scared though. It's scary. Drag Race is scary.
Oh god. Drag Race is scary. Okay, cool. Asia has to pee. Hold on.
I have to pee. I'll be right back. I promise.
Okay.
I'm at work pad, so it'll be quick.
Keep that microphone on while you're
Is she
peeing.
taking the microphone?
I want to hear the stream in the background. It's gonna make me have to pay. All right. Hi. What's your question?
Hi, this is for Karen from Finance.
Hi.
Hi, Karen. If you could be from any other department, from which department would you be?
Okay, I can tell you the department I would never be from, and that is human resources. You know that people have to study to be in that fucking department? And all you have to do to be in human resources is to be a downright cunt.
Yeah.
That's all the study I say you need to be in human resources. But if I was in finance, look, you know what? I would probably be in I'd be in architecture, you know? I'd be in design. It'd be so fun to build a fucking office rather than slave away in it. You know, that's the answer. Thank you so much. That was a lovely question.
Karen from architecture, everybody. All right. Hi. What's your question?
Hi, it's me again. I was wondering if you could lip sync to any national anthem, like which one would it be?
Whitney Houston. What about you? Or you do it not?
You mean like of any country?
My actual answer would be like God Save the Chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, UK national.
Sung by whom? Do you have to like Christina sing it or like?
No, like
you don't do that?
the song original from 1912.
Okay. What about Fergie? Does she do that one?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hope so. That took me a second, though. That took me a second.
All right, not the queen, the other Fergie.
The redhead Fergie?
Right, not the other Fergie.
All right.
We can Google that later.
Who has our hi? What's your question?
Hi, this question is for Alaska. If you could tell me, what is the one thing you wish the fans understood that is the difference between being on RuPaul's Drag Race and the way it's edited and shown?
Well, I mean, it's just like, it's mathematical because you're doing 2 days, they're like 12-hour days, and everything is filmed, and then it's cut down to 2 hours. So it's mathematical, so some stuff you don't see. But I've always found that like everything that happens on the show pretty much happened. It's just shaded with like scary music. So like at the beginning it was like Eureka was like, oh, and this person did this, and it's like a normal conversation. But when you put fucking Lord of the Rings music behind it, like it sounds really scary and intense. So it's like the music is really like, the music shades a lot of what is going on.
Could you imagine what Drag Race would be like if it played the music that they played when that they both won the lip sync tonight, and it sounded like a Scientology it sounded like a Scientology get the people in documentary sort of music at the end, like a recruitment video. Imagine if they played that for the whole of Drag Race. It'd be a completely different show.
Yeah, it'd be jarring.
Jarring, yes.
Yo, it's your question. All right, V-neck. All right. She came out to party tonight. Hello.
Hi, I'm from Dallas. I've seen you for like the last 7 years. Completely love you. I've seen you in some crazy ass outfits, and I was just wondering, what made you want to wear IKEA on your head?
I love the IKEA lamp on your head, by the
Girl,
way.
okay, so I when I first saw that, I was like, I always want to put things on my head. Like, that's just my natural thing with drag. Like, how can I put it on my motherfucking head? And like so many, and I'm awful with hair and I have terrible wigs, so that's my saving grace. Is like, let me just put something in my head. So I saw that and always thought that. And then I saw a queen in a pageant that did exactly what I thought, and I was like, oh my god, how fucking cool. And then when I got the list and it said hats, I was like, okay, is this the time I can put the IKEA lamp on my head that I've been wanting? So it's something that I always wanted to do, and luckily Drag Race provided the opportunity for me to do it. It was coming at some point, but that was it was something that I always wanted to do. And then I saw the list and it said hat, and I thought, okay, it's not a fucking hat. They're gonna say, just like with the latex challenge, they're gonna be like, is that latex or patent leather? And so I'm just gonna put it on my head. If I go home, at least it'll look nice.
I felt like there was a lot of shade on the internet when you wore that. And they were like, oh, she didn't make this. This is from
Was that a lamp joke?
Girl, yeah, you know what? There was a lot of I didn't make it, but dude, I hope people realize out of the 14 of us, there were maybe 3 bitches that made shit.
Honey,
and so that was my thing is so yeah, was that, I'm sorry, I know you had another part to your question. Dallas, did you ask the second part of your question? I made the dress and I put the lamp together in the whatchamacallit, and I made it like where I could put it on my head, and the Vixen and Blair and Aquaria helped me put it together. And so yeah, there was a lot of people oh, it doesn't fucking count because she didn't fucking make it.
So you guys were in the workroom with the IKEA pictures, putting the lamp together, fresh out of the box.
I promise you, they were because sometimes they come in at the end of the day and they say, if you need to take something home to work on, you can take one thing home. Or sometimes they say, if y'all need a little bit of extra time, we'll give you an extra hour off camera. I was like, bitch, I got a fucking lamp I need to put together. Can we have an extra hour? So yeah, I had to climb up to the table and I started putting it together, and then we would, film the mini challenge and the maxi challenge, and then I would go back to putting it together. But yeah, no, I didn't. Obviously, it was designed by IKEA. I keep thinking they're gonna send me a check in the mail and I have to receive nothing. But I adjusted it to be my own and kind of made it my own, and so I'm happy with it.
All right, we're gonna do just a few more questions. Hello, what's your question?
Hi, my question's for Alaska. First of all, I love you, and I'm almost in tears right now because I'm just even talking to you. My question is, between your season and All Stars 2, what ways do you feel that you grew the most as a drag queen? What do you think was most influential in your growth in All Stars 2?
Whenever I watch season 5, and I haven't watched it in a really long time, but I feel no, I sit at home and watch it every night. No, I haven't watched it in a really long time, but I felt like I was like looking at like a really like child, like a child. Like I was still like growing and learning as like as an artist, and you know, just doing drag. And so doing Drag Race, you do it so much, and then you get to do it way more. So going into All Stars, you feel like you have like more in your tool belt, and you're more just like secure and like ready to do it. That's why like All Stars is so much fun to watch. Like the runways are so amazing every single time. There's no duds, you know. Says Detox. But no, I think it's just like experience.
When you watch your season back, do you think, oh my god, I would have done this so much differently. This is what I should have done. Like your original season?
Yes, when I watch it every night at home by myself.
Jerking off.
Eating, jerking off.
Beating it.
Pulling
with your Jinx Monsoon t-shirt on. Yeah.
Crying.
Yeah.
Eating a Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, do you watch this and you're like, oh my god, why the fuck?
I think that's like important in drag. Like if you can't watch something and think of 10 things you would have done better,
exactly.
that's the time when you need to quit.
Exactly.
I definitely, bitch, all of us, we look at it and we're like, girl, what the fuck was I thinking? Like that's like important. When you get to a point for me where you can't do that, then it's like, okay, girl, well, you need to sit down.
Especially the difference between, I feel like you guys get a list that is just a blank piece of paper with 20 different themes on it that says glitter and like, you know, silver ball or whatever the fuck. And then you see everyone else do their things and you're like, I'm sure you're like, oh my god, why did I miss this? Why did I not do that thing? Or why did I focus on this? Or like, why didn't I wear sequins? Or why didn't I whatever? Yeah. Hello? Alright, we'll do a couple more.
Hi.
Oh my god, Demita.
Hi there.
This is Demita Devon Sanchez from Iowa.
Oh, hi, Demita. I cannot get away from you.
I know, I see you every day.
Demita, what's your title?
I am Miss K USA Newcomer 2017.
Demita, if y'all are ever in the state where Demita is performing, she's one of the best live performers you've ever seen in your entire life. So go find Demita Devon Sanchez.
Well, guess what? I'll be in your neck of the woods July 7th.
Okay.
At your show.
Don't promote underbars on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah,
I'll be in Chicago.
We'll do it online.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Hi, ma'am. What's your question?
So I have a question for Alaska. How does it feel to have your song played at the beginning of every drag show and basically everywhere in the world?
Wait, what, are you talking about Honey?
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I was so jealous of Shangela's Working Girl, and I still am because it's in literally every drag show that anywhere you see across the land. It's in a mix, and I was like, I want that. It's like, and the same with Jimmy James with Fashionista. So yeah, no, I think it's cool. I love that.
All right, we'll do 2 more. Oh god. Hi, what's your question, ma'am?
Hi everybody. So my question is from Karen. And what character would you do for Smash Game? Oh, okay. I've got 2 characters. One would be Kat from Kat and Kim. Yes. I don't know if you know that over here. I do.
He had an American version and it got canceled.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. The other would be Lindy Chamberlain. I don't know if you ever know her, but she's the woman that lost her baby to a dingo in the Australian Open. And her famous quote is, "Has anybody got a torch? Dingo stole the baby." I mean, really sad story, but fucking hilarious quote. Yeah. So one of those 2. I mean, I'm sure I've got many, many, many years to think about it.
Dingo, she better don't. Hi, what's your question?
For everyone, across all seasons, what is your favorite runway theme?
Okay, mine is when they had to dress up as the fucking boat.
Boat!
What a stupid thing to do!
The boat and the fucking soup can are like the 2 goofiest, stupidest things. Like, let's make everyone look like a moron and you gotta... Okay.
I'm really jealous of the RuPaul ball. Girl. So fun.
Mine is probably was it Pretty in Pink? That I like open-ended runways where girls can like really do their own shit, and then you just kind of see who they are. Like those are my favorites. So the Pretty in Pink was my favorite one because it was just like, you know, pretty and a color. Then, you know, do you in that color. So that was my favorite one.
Pretty and a color. Hi, ma'am, what's your name, miss? And how many shots of tequila have you had this evening?
Hello, my name is Chad Michaels, and I've had 0 shots of tequila. But if anybody wants to buy me one, I would have a chill Patron shot with a pineapple back. Thank you. Anyways, shut up. Tequila gets me naked. Tequila, it's too early for tequila. My question is for Asia. Speaking of open-ended runways, with this runway from this episode, it was the Silver Fox Challenge. So my head immediately went to, oh, I would do something like all crazy in silver. Was it specific that it was an old age runway on the list?
Yes, it said, yeah, it was an old age runway, and it said, who would you be like in 50 years? Like what would be the version of yourself 50 years down the road? So it was like, when I first saw Silver Foxy, that's what I would have thought, but then the description said, you know, an old lady look that is, you know, who you would be 50 years down the road.
Bad question.
No, great question. There are no bad questions.
Someone get her that tequila.
Just bad people, yeah. All right.
Okay, hey, I have 2 questions. I have a question for Alaska and a question for Karen.
Hi.
So, Alaska first, I want to ask you, what advice, so obviously, you know, you've been on 2 seasons, you won the second, but really like the real win, in my opinion, for you was after, like what you did, you know, with your platform, like you know, are like the queen of music, and you stayed relevant a lot longer than some of the winners of the season. So my question, truth is a truth, facts are facts. So my question to you would be, what advice would you give people, not just in drag, but like how to win like after success? Like what is your secret to being relevant and staying successful well past your season?
Another energetic answer from well, things are great. I would suggest things being great.
Yeah. I don't know, like I like working with my talented friends and saying yes to things when people ask me to do stuff, and you know, working hard.
What you're saying, yes, surrounding yourself with talented friends and working hard.
Timing. I feel like your timing's always really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my take. You know, Alaska is, you know, you're very successful, but it is always so smart, and it's and you kind of get the perception that it's kind of, you know, here it is, y'all love it, but it's always so smart, and the timing, I agree, is always so impeccable. And so that I really applaud you. I'm so impressed with like how you have really like kind of harnessed this, you know, platform, because everything you do is so like perfect in its own way at that very moment. And it's like, you know, oh, there's no good music. Here's an album from Alaska. Like it's like always so fucking perfect. So that's why I ask you, not just for me, but for, you know, the nerd in graduate school and anybody that's trying to, you know, just be great as a whole. Like everything you do is like so perfect. I love it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what? I believe you're even. I mean, you're just like, you're the image of like fucking drag.
I may be the image, but you are the reality. Like, and that's the truth. You know, like everybody gets on this show, and essentially from day one, when you walk in the runway, everybody has the same opportunity. And there's only, you know, a handful of queens that will go down in history, win, lose, or draw. Some of them winning the season, some of them going home first, that get it and like take it and run with it, and will always, you know, be relevant, you know, 100 years down the road. And Alaska is one of them. And so I think there is a round of applause that should be had for just how sickening that is.
Also, can I say you do something that I think is awesome, is I think a lot of queens do this thing where they post a picture of, all right, photo shoot coming, something's coming, what's coming? I'm announcing an announcement soon, look for the announcement, I'm about to announce it. Alaska drops it. You just announce. That to me is what makes you what you do.
Yeah.
It's like out of nowhere, Alaska's like, here's an album, bitch. Here's a music video. Here's a viral video, whatever. I think that's your thing.
And you know what? And I will say this, like I use the word magic a lot. My boyfriend is the hugest Alaska fan ever. And you know, I relate it to the Kardashians. The Kardashians are like icons of this era, of the past 20 years. And they're for the first, they've got money, you don't. So there's something to be said, you know, in previous eras, you know, you had to do something to be sickening. I'm sickening because I won this award. I'm sickening because I did this movie. And now you can be sickening just for existing. And like Alaska is like sickening for sitting here. And I'm like, well girl, let me sit over here because like, and so I fucking love that about you. You're like the Kardashians of drag. You're sickening just for existing.
Can I just say this really quickly? Knowing you very well and knowing your journey, what I gotta say, Alaska is one of the most professional people, and I think that the reason that she works so much and she works as hard as she does is she's easy to fucking work with. She's professional, she's easy, she is kind and considerate to other people and to other people's time, and that speaks volumes in a profession, no matter what profession it is. It speaks volumes. And when you're easy to work with, people want to work with you, and it's going to catapult your success that much further. And she's always been the epitome of professional. No matter how trashy she looks now, she's still professional.
You're ruining my kid.
And it's a testament, honestly. And that's why I think that you're going to be completely. It's not just because of how smart you are and the fact that you have your thumb on the pulse of everything. But you're a kind and entertaining and fun person to be around and to work with, and that resonates. So people are going to want to work with you for years to come. And that's all.
Put this shit already.
Okay, who else has compliments for me?
I have a question for Karen.
Karen, yes.
Karen, I have two questions. When are you moving? And when are you going to be on RuPaul's Drag Race?
I love the United States so much. I have been so welcomed here and like plateaued to a crazy place on social media just because of a stupid name that I came up with when I was really drunk in a backyard one time. But I have no interest in moving like at this stage. If Drag Race isn't something that can come to Australia, I have no interest in coming over here and chasing it because I have such an amazing career at home. I have such an amazing group of queens surrounding me, and if RuPaul wants to, jump on a plane and come over and celebrate what Australia has to offer in the drag rail, I'll be the first queen to put in an application. Yeah. But I couldn't imagine coming over here and competing with the US queens because I don't think it's my place. I think my place is at home in Australia, and that's where I'd love to compete.
And follow-up question, why do you hate Courtney Act in this film?
Wait, do you hate Courtney Act?
No, she
No, I love Courtney. She's amazing. She's incredible. Yeah, she's really, what a fucking good businesswoman.
Yeah. And this year is like Courtney's fucking year.
The queen of reality TV.
And teaching a bunch of straight people how to talk about queer issues. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And don't you know that Courtney Act was going to be the one to go on Big Brother and teach an entire, society how to just speak about normal.
I have to add, as much of an incredible diva and queen as she is, I shared a venue with her in Adelaide Fringe Festival, which is like in February down under, and this tent is like in the fucking mud. It's in the grass, it's in the mud, and she got into like 7 different glamorous outfits with no dressing room, just no shelter, like in the mud, in the grass, and she put on an amazing show, and I had to hands down her for that. She was amazing. Yeah.
You did AAA Girls with her, and you did a whole tour, and Courtney's the best.
She's an earth angel.
I feel like everyone loves Courtney. Yeah.
I don't consider her a man, and I don't consider her a woman. I consider her an angel.
But I have to summarize, Asia, thank you so much for thinking that that's something that I should that I should or could do, and I have to thank like everyone here at Roscoe's as well for having me tonight. It's really fucking overwhelming to sit up here with such incredible queens. Like I'm here from the other side of the world. We don't have screening parties like this. We used to back in the day when it was illegal and we torrented off Pirate Bay. But those days are no longer. And yeah, I've had such a good time tonight. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, well that concludes our viewing party. Thank you to Karen for flying